Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are not truck camping, but we are working on the truck camper so we can go out and do more fun adventures. I have a couple things I want to knock out today on the to-do list. One of which is, if you remember back in Colorado, we were off-roading, and in the middle of the trail, in the middle of the forest, I started smelling fuel.
What have we got going on here?
Keep smelling hints of fuel, like unburned fuel, like leaking fuel. But when I turn the truck off, I don't smell it anymore, and I don't see any wet spots anywhere. Because the fuel line follows the fuel rail, and it's pretty tucked up there.
Ended up finding that my fuel cap gasket was bad, but then also realized my fuel filler neck was just a hack job. So I'll pull that out today, show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, because the last owner just absolutely, I don't even know what they were thinking doing this. I've got a new fuel filler neck I want to put in there. I've also got a modification inside the truck camper that's going to make safety a priority. So, you know, good thing to have in there. And without further ado, let's just jump into it. I think we'll start with the fuel filler neck because I'd really love to just knock that out and be done with it and move on to more fun stuff. Here we have the new to me fuel filler neck, although it is used. I found a guy who was parting out some first gen Tacomas and snagged this used fuel filler neck. I went ahead and painted the outside, just cleaned it up because it had a little bit of rust spots on it. And then I also replaced the clamps for the evap, or like the breather hose, with some nice stainless clamps because they were all rusted out. And outside of that, and a new gasket. That is actually what mates up against the fuel tank. So new gasket, new paint, new clamps. The hose was still in good shape. So outside of that, it should be pretty plug and play. I just need to get the old one out. So first things first, we can go ahead and open this. Open this. And what we're gonna be replacing is this fuel filler neck that is right behind this fuel cap. So this whole thing is gonna come out of here. And then we've got our new-ish fuel cap that I picked up in Colorado, kind of like a temporary Band-Aid. Would have liked to go OEM, but they didn't have it, so this is what I got to work with. And then next up inside of the wheel well, we have a whole bunch of these little tabs that we need to undo, which I think you kind of just reach in from behind and pull them out. Might need some pliers or something to get in there. There's one. These little push tabs, you gotta like press in both sides at the same time and then pop it out. Okay, there's number 2. Number 3, which is actually kind of broken. Definitely would like to replace these. You know, basically that kind of allows us to pull this back. Looks like I'll have to undo this bolt here and potentially a couple more. So I'm gonna guess that's like a 10 mil. Just undo this guy here. And the whole point of this is to be able to get this mud flap out of the way, or this fender liner, I guess, yeah, not mud flap, but fender liner, kind of up and out of the way to be able to get access to the fuel filler neck, because we have to actually pull it off of the fuel tank and then, you know, basically start from there and feed it back up through this little inlet. Just gonna set my loose nuts and bolts in here for now. There we are. Now we'll just kind of set this whole thing aside. And here is the fuel filler neck that we got to try and unbolt and remove. Should be exciting. All right, I think I've got everything loosened up now. It's just a matter of pulling this guy out, which I think, you know what? I actually may need to take this guy off of here. I think that's gonna be in the way. Okay, so now I've got the 4 screws out of there. This guy just comes right out. Probably go ahead and clean this while I have it out. And then now we should have hopefully a lot more wiggle room. There we go. Whew, fuel filler neck is out. And immediately, I think you can see why I need to replace it. There used to be a 3-inch body lift on this truck, and so the previous owner cut the fuel filler neck and added these like extension hoses to be able to add 3 inches of length because of the body lift. And oh my gosh, this hose is so corroded. Wow. To be able to add 3 inches to the body lift, so that way it would, you know, the fuel filler neck would still land here. But I don't want that anymore. Hopefully the new one will fit up just right. All squared away now. We've got that all put back together. And in here we have the all new fuel filler neck. And if you can see there, those little spacers, I still have a 1-inch body lift on this truck. And so I added just a couple spacers with a little bit longer bolt to mount the fuel filler neck to its factory location, just so that way it still, you know, retains some rigidity. And the cool thing is up here, it still fits within the housing. So finally, one more thing off the list, one less thing to worry about, and one thing that has been unflipped from the last owner. Had to run a quick errand, and which also included filling up the fuel tank for the Tacoma, and happy to say that there's no leakage. You know, everything seems to be okay. No leakage from the fuel cap. The only thing I was worried about was because I repainted the outside of the fuel filler neck. Obviously, the tubular part is going to be totally fine to paint on the outside, but where the gasket sits on the underside was pretty rusted out, so I cleaned it, sanded it, and then primed it with some, what is it called, epoxy paint. And I'm just not entirely sure how that's going to hold up to gas. Now, keep in mind that the bottom of the fuel neck is here, then the rubber gasket goes on there, and then that's what attaches to the fuel tank. So there's really not that much, if any, paint that's actually exposed to the fuel, but just something to keep in mind. I may be, you know, changing my fuel filter here in the next month or so, just in case some of that paint like kind of rubs off or the fuel kind of eats away at it. Anyways, I'm just kind of like playing devil's advocate with that. But I do want to work on the next thing, which is actually way more fun. And that is going to be upgrading some safety stuff. So if you guys remember, I put this fire extinguisher in here maybe a couple months ago. Basically just zip tied it to the GFC frame. And today I've got something a lot better. So for starters, I've got an actual automotive fire extinguisher. I had this in the Prelude. I'm moving it over to the truck, and it's a Kidde brand, Kidde brand fire extinguisher, and it is a automotive based fire extinguisher. So I think what that means is it does a better job of putting out both electrical as well as like different fluid type, vehicle fluid type fires. So hopefully we'll never have to use it, but I do like to keep it on hand just in case, whether the truck light's on fire or I'm cooking or the power banks or something catches on fire. I want to have a fire extinguisher. Now, I have one and have had one in here the whole time, but my setup for it is kind of jank, and it's just like literally zip tied to the frame of the GFC. I put a little foam to help protect the powder coat. But then this actually rubs kind of, I don't know if you can see that, up against the panel. It hasn't like pulled any of the powder coat off, but this is just still kind of jank. So I want to take this off, obviously replace it with the automotive fire extinguisher. And then in here, I have a new mount that is going to look and hopefully be way more functional as well as just legit looking back here. And it's not going to have this dangly fire extinguisher anymore. Now, also in this video, I'm trying something a little different. I'm using a DJI action cam with like a neck mount. I was gonna get like one of those mounts that you can like put in your mouth and you basically like hold it to get a POV, or you could do like a head strap mount, but those are kind of fidgety and hard to keep it's hard to see what you're doing, and making sure you're actually what I'm capturing is in proper frame. And then you have like the head mount, the hat mounts. But this just seems pretty easy and kind of like puts you guys like right in front of me. So just let me know what you think down in the comments. But we're gonna start by undoing these zip ties and taking this guy out of here. And I'll still make use of this fire extinguisher, nothing wrong with it, but just moving on to bigger and better things. And we can break open the new mount. And basically what this is it's designed for like Jeep cages or roll cages. So you've got a bunch of different rubber lined clamps. They give this cute little screwdriver. And then in here is the actual fire extinguisher mount, which, let me set this down. Basically you attach one side to your frame and then one side to your fire extinguisher, and then you have this quick release pull pin and the whole fire extinguisher will come off. So I think it's just gonna look a lot better and allow me to orientate it with clamps and tighten it down, as well as this is like got a nice suede kind of backing to it. So again, it shouldn't scratch the powder coat on the GFC. So now we just gotta figure out how to mount it all up. So I guess for starters, we won't actually need the factory or the clamp mount that comes with the fire extinguisher. So we can set that aside. And based on the size of it, I think these two clamps are gonna be the best ones to actually adhere the fire extinguisher to this. So we can pull that off and take this off, and probably easier to do this on the tailgate. So essentially, I believe clamps are gonna go in here, kind of like that. And then obviously one on the bottom. Keep it all the same way. And then let me try and actually loosen these up first so that we can slip the fire extinguisher in. Let's figure out what size this is. I'm gonna guess like 8 mil. No, way too big. Let's try 7 mil. 7 mil it is. And I'm just gonna loosen these up a little bit to give me a little more wiggle room to put the fire extinguisher through it. And we'll just tighten down our clamps. Those are on there really snug. And now, show you guys up close. So this kind of like hooks into this pin and then gets released like that. So the fire extinguisher will hopefully sit in a way that allows me easy access to it. But we have full adjustability here, so it should be pretty straightforward. Now we just got to get the next clamps fed through, I imagine, these little holes here. And for that, I'm gonna use the smaller clamps just because the GFC bars are not that big. And we'll get it hooked up. So I want this to sit kind of up here and probably on this angle. So that way the fire extinguisher is kind of pointed down. And maybe not the easiest thing to do with one hand, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, so here's kind of where I've settled on the location. Last thing I want to do is, I was going to cut these off, these excess little things here, so that way they're not scratching the panel. But I think just that way, in case I ever have to take it off or like redo it, I want to be able to still like feed those through. So I'm just going to go like this and pop a zip tie around it and just hold it down. And there you have it, fully installed automotive fire extinguisher. It's got a little bit of play on it, but that's just really the mount in between the clip, the quick release clip, and the other, obviously the harness for it. So just nice to have some good like rubber clamps on it. That way I'm protecting again this frame here. And I moved it kind of as far down before it starts hitting the GFC truck bed mount. That way it's, you know, taking up as minimal amount of room as possible versus having it like all the way up here for no good reason. And then also, probably easier to show you this way, I kind of like kicked it inwards a little bit, just that way when I go ahead and close the panel, it's not touching any part of the clamp or the fire extinguisher, so it's not gonna scratch the inside of the GFC panel. And now, of course, just to explain why I put this where I put it and how I orientated it, I wanted the quick release button to be on the inside. That way I can obviously open this panel or even the back panel and get access to the fire extinguisher from the outside. But then also if I'm inside, pardon me, I'm still figuring out how to do this. if I'm on the inside of the camper and need the fire extinguisher, the quick release handle is on the inside. So that way I could obviously get to it from that part as well. And then again, just to reiterate, pushing as far down this way before I start hitting the body mount thing here, and then pushed it inwards a little bit so that way it doesn't rub on the panel. And I think it's just a good thing that everyone should have in their truck camper, because if you're, out in the woods, campfires, it doesn't even necessarily need to be used on a vehicle fire. Let's say your campfire gets out of hand, or like when we were out in Colorado and my fuel tank was practically leaking, having a fire extinguisher is a good thing to have, because you don't want to be that guy or gal that lights the wilderness on fire. So taking some extra precautions here, and this mount was like $15 on Amazon, so we'll see how it actually holds up, once I start off-roading and see if this thing moves around or breaks in any way. I'll keep an eye on it and let you guys know. But if you guys are interested in rocking something like this, I'll have a link down in the description. Again, just picked it up on Amazon. If you use my links on Amazon, there's no extra charge to you, but it does give me a little kickback and helps support the channel in that way. So you can also support the channel by just leaving a thumbs up and commenting down below what you think of today's video. But I'm gonna clean up this mess and see what else there is to do. So I've got my lovely truck camping co-pilot here, and we actually did the same setup with the zip tied on fire extinguisher and your GFC. Try that, check it out, see what you think. Fire, you quickly gotta get it. Stupendous, what do you think?
It is a great quick release. I think I don't even know how to use a fire extinguisher, and I know we need to
Hold a pen and fire away.
Yeah, no pun intended. So even like mine to have, because I just walked out here, I don't know if they saw me or not, but I'm going to take Hank for a walk, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. And then he just did what I did and ripped it off. I'm like, wow, that's excellent, because mine, you're going to have to find a knife or scissors.
No, we didn't zip tie your whole fire extinguisher, because it's still using that same like plastic mount, right, that it came with.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we didn't zip tie the whole thing, yeah, 100%. Because I saw, when I was looking at different versions of these, there were some that actually just like clamped right to whatever bar you're putting on, so there wasn't a quick release. And I'm like, that seems so dangerous, because then you'd have to either unscrew the clamp or find a way to cut it, and then it's one and done. But yeah, this one seemed a lot better just because of the quick release. But yeah, yours is definitely zip tied, the clamp that came with it.
Like the unit is zip tied, but not
the fire extinguisher is just, hold on. This is literally how yours is. Yeah, so this is how we have Morgan set up. So this is zip tied to the GFC, but then you still have the quick release. Can't do it with one hand, but you have that quick release to pull the fire extinguisher off of the black piece.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but still, no, this is so much better.
yeah, I like it because honestly, the rubber clamps are nice. So that goes down on the bottom.
This?
Yeah, near that other pin. Nope, a little further down. There you go. And then that just clicks in there.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice because you can orientate it like perfectly, and it's not going to slide around because of the rubber clamps. So, are we going to do one in yours?
Yes. Are you gonna do one in mine?
I can put one in yours. Now that I know how to mount it, and you have a V2 and I have a V2 Pro, but essentially the frame is the same, so it should be pretty quick and easy to swap that out. So again, I'll let you guys know once I actually start hitting some bumpy roads and trails and stuff if that thing actually holds up, because like anything else, a lot of stuff is built to break today. So we'll see. And I think it'd be really cool, honestly, if there was someone out there that was like had a CNC machine and make that out of all like billet aluminum. I'm sure it would cost, $60-ish bucks, but heck, for something that's going to save your truck, it's cheap insurance. Yeah. Final thoughts. Oh, guess what? Hold on. You probably can't see it, but I got the new fuel filler neck all installed in there. Yeah, see that shiny black paint in there?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That looks so new.
And to top it off,
Can I see it?
yeah, no pun intended, to top it off, but the it still fits like pretty OEM, even with the 1-inch body lift.
That's
like
nice. Yeah.
this just sits a little bit further pushed in by an inch, but I managed, I can't show you anymore, but I used like I have some, can't remember if I said this on camera. I have some center carrier bearing drop spacers. They're like little 1/2-inch spacers. And so I just added that to like the mounting point. So that way I can still use a longer bolt, but bolted to the truck. So that way it's not like jiggling around.
Janky like it was previously. If you saw the Colorado adventures when there was a fuel leak, I assume did you mention that at all? Or
Yeah, and I think at this point I've probably overlaid some footage of that.
yeah, it's nice to see that finally come to fruition. That's been months in the making.
You never saw my truck when I first bought it, but I mean this thing was a hoopty. Like the exhaust was had like some weird custom rusted out dual exit exhaust. It had just like some really stupid looking blackout taillights. And then of course it had a 3-inch body lift, which is basically useless. Like doesn't really serve a functional purpose at all. And so over the last like 5 years of ownership of this truck, it's just been, like I said before, unpacking it and bringing it back to like an OEM spec. So now we have an unabused OEM fuel neck in here, and that's just one more thing off the to-do list. And I'm sorry, I'm just like holding you up here, but for the guy that was asking about my I have a 5VZFE in here. It's a 6-cylinder, and I was having like some weird not rough idle, but high idle, as well as like stuttering on highway speeds at like 55 to 60. I haven't noticed it anymore, and I basically am going to attribute that to replacing the throttle position sensor with an OEM Toyota one. You know, a lot of the aftermarket ones are like $20, but I had 2 aftermarket ones, one that came on the truck and then a spare part that the guy that sold me this truck gave me. I swapped it out as soon as I bought the truck, kept the old one. I've been trying both of them back and forth, the aftermarket ones, and both of them are screwed up in different ways. So I put a Toyota OEM one, runs like a freaking top now, and further unfucking the Toyota Tacoma. Parting thoughts.
The truck is beautiful. This is nice. It's not color matched specifically to the truck, but it does match the truck nice, which is...
I'm not gonna lie, I did want to swap it out for white because it looks really cool.
It does. Yeah, I think it looks great, and I look forward to you doing it to mine too.
Cool. Well, we'll get one ordered and get your GFC up to speed. And with that being said, folks, leave a comment down below. Hopefully we'll have some more camping adventure. I know we're gonna have some more camping adventures here shortly. And I'm filming this on Halloween. It's not gonna be uploaded on Halloween, but happy belated Halloween to all of you. And love you all. Keep elevating. Adios.